Hey everyone, Thordan Smash here, and with the recent Titanfall 3 news and rumors officially squashed, it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. That being said, Apex Legends 2 is still on the horizon, and it's got me thinking about, well, if Titanfall 3 isn't happening, maybe they're still planning on bringing Blisk and other features to the game, and well, there are a lot of stuff in the game files that seem to indicate that. We're going to go over all of that. We're also going to go ahead and give up one of the upcoming Mirage Prestige skins. All you got to do is like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the drill. Without further ado, let's jump into today's topic. So, as most everyone has heard, Titanfall 3 does not appear to be real, at least according to Jeff Grubbs, who posted about it on Insider Gaming and then went ahead and talked about it on GameSpot. That was also confirmed by another couple Apex Legends leakers, such as iLoot Games, saying, I'm going to have to unfortunately let you guys know that Titanfall 3 rumors are fake. I hadn't heard much about it myself with the leaks that I get. However, there was something interesting that I wanted to discuss about it, because Oz, he's very well said, Unreal Engine 5, which is something that has also been leaked for Apex Legends 2, some returning Apex characters, the weather system, which I myself had actually talked about coming for Apex Legends 2, and well, we do know that Apex Legends 2 is very much real as it comes from EA CEO, and it got me kind of thinking, why was there so much confusion? If Oz and Yoro actually did get that information, why did it turn out to be false when so much of their other information has been correct? And this is kind of like a personal theory of mine, but with a caustic Titanfall skin very much in the game files, slated for release sometime in the near future, and with Apex Legends 2 coming out, maybe the inevitable information or an inevitable conclusion was that these two are actually linked together much more closely than we thought. And it got me thinking, when Apex 2 does launch, what if they did something with Titanfall as an expansion to go ahead and promote the game even more to get players to come back? And that got me thinking, well, what are the chances we ever see Blisk? Recently, a lot of you probably saw back on January 3rd, AG420 did put a list out of upcoming legends, and there's a lot of interesting ones there. There's Seismic, the Gibraltar update we've heard about, a couple of others such as the Fuse rework, but one that really caught my eye is the fourth one down, and it's called Blisk, and there's a big reason why this is very interesting to me. For the longest time, Apex Legends and Titanfall fans have wanted Cuban Blisk, the main antagonist of Titanfall 2, to be brought into the Apex Legends universe as a playable character. Most of us are aware that he does run the Apex Legends games, or at least formerly did, and there was something recently put out into the files. As you can see here, there was a lot of different multiplayer weapons added in, just a ton of different stuff, but the fourth one down actually is called Blisk Payday, and this is very interesting because it seems to indicate that Blisk may very well be coming into the future as a legend. When Blisk was originally data mined and found, he had a list of abilities, one being a passive ability for interrogation, where a player executes an enemy, the location of the enemy's allies will be revealed for 10 seconds. Still not an ability that we've actually seen added into the game. Along with that, his tactical was a throwing knife where it deals 20 damage and marks the target. We've seen the throwing knife obviously come in as gun run, and for a long time this was thought to be Maggie's ability, and his ultimate lines up with what was found in the files, which was called Payday, and it simply says squad kills award credit, spend credits on powerful supplies. Now, in case you didn't know, this was the original abilities, but eventually got turned kind of into the crafter if you haven't seen it before. However, that wasn't where the Blisk story actually ended, and in fact, Blisk has been found in leaks from Respawn's office going back to the very beginning of the game. This is a list of the created legends they were making, and as you can see, it has Crypto, Revenant, and Loba, and this was from season 1. Along with that, it says Design Alpha for Rampart and Valk. And then for future characters, they actually have Blisk listed there. So the question you might be asking, well, if this is the case, then where is Blisk? There have been so many other legends that have come into the game. Well, it turns out Blisk was actually going to be a character in an upcoming Apex Legends solo game called Titanfall Legends. He was going to be, in fact, a playable character. In addition, BT would have reportedly returned along with the Apex Legends characters making cameo appearances. But what's important to note is this game got canceled, meaning that Blisk, and from what I have personally heard, is actually once again in development, as he will no longer be that single player person, and in the future will be coming back into the game. But those abilities that we just went over in the data mine files are very, very old. The most recent one we actually have comes from Bias 1.2. And as you can see, these are the abilities listed here. He has a passive pilot kit where Blisk can hack survey beacons using his data knife, and he can also wall run, which is very interesting because we have heard a ton about wall running from Revenant Reborn, as that was what Respawn had said was his original ability kit. Along with that, his tactical was My Ring, My Rules, where Blisk creates a damaging zone powered by the Arena's Ring, and an ultimate standby for Titanfall, where Blisk summons an Auto Titan to suppress an area. And as you can see from the gameplay leak of that from Bias 12, it gets called in very similar to Lifeline's ultimate, and then it basically fires an auto sentry. After a little while, it explodes, and that's basically his ability. Now, all these were actually confirmed real. Bias Genesis 12 leak is not a made up one. It is 100% accurate to what they had last tested him for. But obviously it's been almost about 10 seasons since we saw that leak, and if and when he does actually come to the games, it's going to be quite a lot different, as we've seen with Revenant Reborn being changed, Catalyst being changed from her original leaks, and we will need to get more lore set up for Blisk. The last time we actually heard of him really was in season 9, where he sanctioned the expansion of the local arenas matches, asking Ashe to oversee him, as she used to be one of his right-hand henchmen, a member of the Apex Predators. It's funny, Arenas is actually now no longer in the game. Ashe remains, but sadly we have not heard of Blisk since. At least not in the mainstream. There is a whole Blisk versus Octane's dad who then took over the games. It's slightly convoluted, but it is very interesting that Blisk could be making a return finally to Apex Legends after the failed solo game and EA canceled it, and it would be the only true and proper way, I think, to carry on Titanfall after Ashe has already been released, and they just haven't done anything with the character for a long time, so it now makes a lot of sense that he would finally be talked about and trying to be thought of ways to be brought into the main game. All that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump into community clips now. Don't forget to submit your own to be at Thordan Smash on Twitter, but without further ado, let's roll it.
10 seconds, the ring's this line here.
Ooh.
And keep the heat. I'm
Deliver the care package.
Need to recharge my shields.
Oh crap. Yes, yes!
That's the last of that squad.
Down to enemy. Reloading. You got banned. Down to enemy. Reloading. You got banned.
Let me know down below, what are your guys' thoughts on Apex Legends 2 and Titanfall 3 no longer coming, and do you think that Blisk would actually be something that would bridge the gap pretty well? Also, don't forget to check out this video right here where I cover more news on Apex Legends 2 on the daily, and until next time everyone, keep slaying the aliens. See you out there.